farmer once married a young woman who was not only beautiful, but also wise and understanding. Their bond was filled with deep love and mutual respect, so strong that the two were practically inseparable. They lived together in a lovely house on a hill inside the city, next to an elderly woman who happened to be their neighbor. But this old lady disliked the farmer's wife terribly, and she made no effort to hide her hatred. She constantly found ways to verbally harass her. Every single day, she would wait until the young woman returned home and then step outside just to throw harsh words at her. One day, the old woman shouted, "What a shameless woman you are! Your father sent you abroad to study so you could become a successful lady and marry a wealthy politician. But you were too foolish to do that and ended up marrying a mere farmer. Now you spend your days at the farm with filthy cows. You're a failure of a woman." On another day, she screamed again, "You may look pretty on the outside, but your heart is dark and ugly. It's filled with filth and bitterness. You are useless, untalented, and not worth anything at all." The old lady continued to hurl all kinds of cruel and hurtful words, hoping to make the farmer's wife angry or sad. But there was something truly unique about this young woman. She never lost her calm. Instead of being offended or reacting harshly, she would simply smile or laugh softly. Her peace was untouched. Eventually, the old woman grew tired and confused. None of her insults seemed to affect the young woman, so one day she asked, "I've been insulting you for so long. Why do you never get upset? Why doesn't it bother you?" The farmer's wife smiled gently and said, "May I ask you something? If you try to give me something and I refuse to take it, who keeps it?" The old lady replied, "It stays with me." The young woman nodded and said, "Exactly. So as long as I refuse to accept your insults, they stay with you. They are yours, not mine." The truth is, the world today is filled with people ready to argue, criticize, and spread negativity. We cannot completely avoid them. They exist everywhere around us. But the biggest mistake we make is letting their words control our emotions. When you get angry or hurt, you've accepted their insult. Remember, that insult belongs to them, not to you. So don't claim what isn't yours. Don't accept what doesn't belong to you. Stay calm, stay kind, and always protect your inner peace. Follow for more inspiring stories that open your heart and strengthen your soul. A young nurse was wrapping up her night shift at the hospital. She looked completely drained, yet she still smiled at every patient she passed along the hallway. When she finally reached the parking lot and tried to start her car, the engine refused to turn over. She sighed deeply and sat there in the cold, doing her best to hold back her tears. Just then, a janitor walked by carrying a mop and a bucket. He noticed her sitting there and kindly asked, "Is everything okay, miss?" The nurse forced a weak smile and replied, "My car won't start, and I'm already late." The janitor nodded gently, placed his bucket aside, and offered to help. He tried his best to fix the car, but the engine was completely dead. After a moment, he said, "I'll walk you home. It's not safe to stay out here alone." So they began walking together through the quiet city streets. As they walked, the nurse asked him, "How long have you been working here?" He smiled softly and answered, "Almost 10 years. Ever since my wife passed away. She was a nurse, just like you." The nurse felt a deep sense of sympathy and said, "I'm so sorry for your loss." He nodded calmly and replied, "It's all right." Helping people keeps her memory alive. When they finally reached her home, the nurse thanked him with genuine gratitude. Before he left, she handed him her umbrella and said, "You probably need this more than I do." The janitor smiled warmly and said, "Kindness always finds its way back." Then he quietly walked away under the falling rain, holding the umbrella above his head. The next morning, the nurse arrived early at the hospital. She wanted to thank the janitor again, but he wasn't there. She asked around, only to learn that he hadn't come to work that day. Feeling worried, she asked for his address and decided to visit him. When she reached his place, she saw a small, worn-out house with cracked walls and broken windows. She knocked on the door, and after a moment, the janitor slowly opened it while coughing. He looked weak and pale, but when he saw her standing there, he smiled. "I told you," he whispered softly. "Kindness finds its way back." The nurse immediately rushed to help him and called an ambulance right away. She stayed beside him the entire way to the hospital. A few days later, the janitor woke up in a clean hospital room. Sitting beside him was a beautiful bouquet of fresh flowers and a small note on the table. The note read, You once walked me home. Now it's my turn to help you heal." Tears filled his eyes as he realized that she had paid for his treatment. A hospital staff member walked in and said, "Sir, your bills have already been taken care of." He quietly asked, "By who?" But deep down he already knew the answer. Just then, the nurse entered the room with a gentle smile, holding a breakfast tray for him. She placed it beside him and said softly, "Now you can finally rest. You've spent your whole life taking care of others." The janitor smiled through his tears and replied, "You're just like my wife." Drop a heart if you believe that one small act of kindness can change 2 lives. Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more meaningful stories that remind us of the power of kindness. See you in the next video. One day, a very rich father took his son on a trip out to the countryside, with the only goal of showing him what being poor really looks like. They stayed there for a few days and nights, on a farm owned by a family that most people would consider very poor. When they returned home from the trip, the father asked his son how he felt about it. "It was great, Dad," the son replied. "So did you see how poor people can be?" the father asked. "Oh yeah," the son said. "Then what did you learn from this trip?" the father continued. The son answered, "I saw that we have 1 dog while they have 4. We have a pool that reaches the middle of our garden, but they have a creek that seems endless. We have imported lanterns lighting our garden, but they have the stars shining at night. Our patio reaches only to the front yard, while they have the entire horizon. We live on a small piece of land, but they have fields that go beyond what we can see. We buy our food, but they grow theirs." The boy's father was left speechless. Then the son added, "It showed me how poor we really are. Too often we forget what we already have and keep focusing on what we don't. What seems worthless to one person can be a priceless treasure to another. In the end, it all comes down to perspective. Sometimes it takes the eyes of a child to remind us of what truly matters. If you're not following the story, chances are you may never come across us again. But if you are, then congratulations. You're growing a little every single day." "Grab her, someone stop her, she's a thief!" The shout cut through the quiet morning air like a sharp knife. In a small neighborhood in Portland, Oregon, a poorly dressed woman had slipped a few warm pieces of bread into her worn-out handbag. The owner of a tiny bakery rushed out of the front door, yelling hysterically. As the woman tried to run away, she tripped hard and the bread scattered across the sidewalk. Before she could even stand up, 2 security guards pinned her down. Tears streamed down her face as she struggled to explain. I'm not a bad person, she cried. But the store owner pointed at her in front of everyone and shouted, "Shut up! People like you don't belong here. Stealing is stealing. Today you're not getting away." A few minutes later, a patrol car arrived. An officer gently placed handcuffs on her wrists and helped her into the car. Inside the patrol car, he spoke softly. "Ma'am, why did you steal the bread?" The woman completely broke down. I'm not a criminal. I'm a widow. I have 4 children. They haven't eaten for 2 days. I swear, I had no other choice." The only sound left inside the car was her quiet, desperate sobbing. The officer listened in silence, his eyes slowly growing wet. After a long pause, he took a deep breath and said, "Stay here, don't move, I'll be right back." Her whole body trembled. She thought it was just a kind farewell before he took her to jail. But a few minutes later, another patrol car pulled up. When she saw it, her face turned pale. "It's over. My kids are going to lose me." But the moment the car door opened, she froze. 3 officers stepped out. Not with handcuffs, not with weapons. Instead, they carried bags overflowing with food, bread, milk, fruit, canned goods, and a whole box of snacks for the children. There was enough to feed her family for weeks. One officer stepped forward and gently said, "These are for your children. You're not a thief. You're just a mother who ran out of options." The woman collapsed into tears, feeling the first warmth she had felt in a very long time. The officers drove her home and carried the food inside. When the door opened, 4 skinny children rushed out. The moment they saw the food, their eyes lit up like stars. For the first time in months, that cold and dark apartment was filled with laughter. The officer touched her shoulder and said softly, "Remember this, someone is always willing to help you. You're not alone." Through her tears, she asked, "Why? Why would you help me?" The officer smiled and replied, "Because any one of us could be you someday. God didn't put you in our path today so we could judge you, but so we could save you. Because true greatness is never about how much you have, but about how much you are willing to give." If this story touched your heart, write yes in the comments and share it with someone who needs this message today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy meaningful stories like this. The government car came to a sudden halt in front of a small roadside tea stall. The tea vendor's heart skipped a beat. He had never seen such an official vehicle stop at his humble tapery before. The collector stepped out and walked straight toward him. "Where is Bolaram?" he asked. The vendor blinked. "Bolaram? I don't know anyone by that name, Sahib. He used to run a tea stall here, right at this very spot, before you." "Oh." The vendor's expression softened. "He left for his village 5 years ago. I've been here ever since. When I arrived, he was terribly ill, thin as a rail. He sold me this stall for almost nothing and just left." Thin as a rail. The words struck Collector Ashutosh like a blow to the chest. He felt a cold wave of dread wash over him. He pulled out an old chair and sat down heavily, closing his eyes. "Shall I make tea, Sahib?" "3 cups," he said quietly. As the vendor prepared the tea, Ashutosh drifted back through the years. He was 17, maybe 18, the night he had stumbled onto this very stall, hollow with hunger, burning with shame. He had run away from his uncle's house, where he was kept not as a nephew but as cheap labor. His dreams of education suffocating under the weight of their greed. His parents had died when he was a child, and the world since then had been indifferent at best, cruel at worst. That night, an old man with kind eyes had noticed him sitting alone, trembling. "You look troubled, son. Shall I make you some tea?" "I have no money, uncle. I didn't ask for any." Bolaram had set a cup of tea and a handful of biscuits in front of him without another word. After Ashutosh had eaten, the old man sat beside him and asked gently, "Did you run away from home?" When Ashutosh confessed everything, the dead parents, the cruel uncle, the stolen dream of education, Bolaram listened without interrupting. Then he said simply, "Come live with me. I rent a small room in this city. My wife and children are in the village. There is space, and you are welcome to it." For a boy who had no one, it was nothing short of a miracle. For 3 years, Ashutosh lived with Bolaram. He tutored neighborhood children for a few rupees, but it was never quite enough. Bolaram never complained. He fed him, sheltered him, and saw him through his graduation, quietly, without ever asking for anything in return. When Ashutosh announced he wanted to sit for the IAS examination and needed to go to Delhi, Bolaram arranged everything. He gave him the address of a trusted contact who could help him find part-time work, pressed money into his hands, and walked him to the bus stop. At the bus window, the old man had said with glistening eyes, "You are not alone, son. I have no son of my own. You are mine. Your mother is waiting for you in the village. Your sisters, Sarita and Anita, have been tying their rakis to an empty wrist for years. Come home when you are ready, but come home. I promise, uncle. I will return only as a success, and that day I will meet Ma and let my sisters tie the rakhi." The bus had begun to move. Bolaram jogged alongside it, knocking on the window. "Beta, I packed a tiffin in your bag. Eat when you're hungry." The memory released him slowly, like a dream dissolving in daylight. Ashutosh wiped his eyes. "I never wrote, not even once." He drank his tea, paid the vendor, sent his official car away, and hired a private vehicle. He told the driver the name of the village and stared out the window as the city fell behind him. He found the house as evening settled over the fields. 2 worn rooms, a tin shed for the animals, and an open courtyard where life was quietly going on. Bolaram's wife was milking the cow. His elder daughter was scrubbing utensils. His younger daughter, Anita, sat on a cot cutting vegetables. They looked up when the stranger walked in. He said nothing for a moment, then asked softly, "Where is Bolaram, uncle?" Sarita answered without expression, "Papa passed away. It's been over 4 years now." The words fell like stones into still water. Ashutosh's throat closed. He could not speak. He had feared this, but hearing it said aloud made it final and unbearable. The man who would have been the most joyful witness to his success was gone. Then Anita came running back from inside the house, clutching an old photograph, Ashutosh and Pola Ram standing together, smiling. She looked at the photo, then at the man in the courtyard, and suddenly screamed, "Ashu Bhaiya!" Sarita grabbed the photo, looked, and screamed too. "Ma, come quickly, Ashu Bhaiya is here." Ashutosh stood with both arms open, an instinct, an invitation, and both sisters ran into them without hesitation. They had never met him, but he was their brother, and they had been missing a brother for a very long time. Their mother came rushing from across the courtyard. Ashutosh fell at her feet. She lifted him up with trembling hands and pressed him to her chest, her tears soaking into his collar. "You took so long, my boy. He remembered you until the very end." "I was lost, Ma," he wept. "I got so caught up in becoming something that I forgot what mattered." She held his face in her hands and searched it the way only mothers do. "Did you become someone at least?" "Yes, Ma." "How big?" "Like a police inspector." He almost smiled. "Bigger." "A revenue officer?" "Bigger still. I became a collector, Ma." She stared at him for a moment. Then, without a word, she turned and walked to the boundary wall between her house and her brothers-in-law's. She leaned over and called out in a loud, clear voice, "Bimli, Muni, listen carefully. I am no longer alone. My son has come home. Your relative is a police inspector. Mine is a collector. If either of you so much as glances at my land again, I will make sure you regret it for the rest of your lives." There was silence from the other side of the wall. Ashutosh stayed through the night. Every rupee he had saved from his salary he placed at his mother's feet. He came back every Sunday after that, not as the collector, but as a son. He fulfilled every obligation that a son owes. He arranged his sisters' weddings with joy and ceremony, and eventually brought his mother to live with him in the city. Now she spends her days in his home, content and unhurried, quietly looking for a good girl to bring into the family. The boy who once had no one had come home, late, but not too late, and found that love, unlike time, does not always run out. How did you like the story? Do share your thoughts in the comments. A young boy used to work from morning until evening. Whatever money he earned during the day, he would bring home and hand it to his elderly mother. One night, after finishing dinner, the boy said to his mother, "Mum, I feel like I'm not earning much profit from this work. From tomorrow, I think I will leave this job and try something else." His mother gently agreed with whatever her son decided. The very next day, the boy went out looking for a new job. He asked for work in many different places, and after a long search, he finally found a job in a factory. That night, the boy returned home and placed a box of sweets in his mother's hands. Smiling with excitement, he said, "Mom, with your blessings, I got a new job at a factory. I'll be operating a machine there." Seeing the happiness on her son's face made the mother very happy as well. But one day, the machine in the factory suddenly broke down. Because of that problem, the factory owner became a little angry and deducted some money from the boy's salary. That night, when the boy came home, he said to his mother, "Mom, the factory owner is very short-tempered. I don't want to work there anymore. From tomorrow, I'll look for another job." Just like every other time, his mother quietly agreed with him. Once again, the boy went out searching for work. But that day, he couldn't find any job anywhere. Tired and disappointed, he returned home in the evening. Seeing the sadness on her son's face, the mother said gently, "Son, don't worry. If not today, then tomorrow you will surely find work. Your father once buried something behind our house for difficult times like this." As soon as he heard this, the boy quickly went behind the house and began digging a hole in the ground. While he was digging, his mother kept repeating the same sentence again and again. "Son, not there. Dig somewhere else." Listening to his mother, the boy kept changing places and ended up digging many holes all over the yard. After some time, tired and frustrated, the boy said, "Mom, if I keep changing places like this, I will never find the buried treasure. But if I keep digging in one place, I'm sure I will eventually find it." The mother smiled and said, "My son, that is exactly what I wanted you to understand. Every job comes with problems. But if you keep changing your work again and again, you will never achieve success. Stay committed to one thing with full dedication. One day, that very work will make you successful. Hearing his mother's words, the boy finally realized the mistake he had been making. Every time he faced a small problem, he would leave his work and start something new. And the truth is, many people today make the same mistake. They keep wandering from one thing to another. That is why people say there is only one true secret to success. Dedicate your life to one goal and stay committed to it with complete faith and persistence. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Please like, comment and share if you want to keep these videos coming. At the same hour every night, she would lower her forehead to the floor. And then one day, without warning, the miracle finally came. Maya, a gentle and quiet young woman from the neighborhood, had not skipped a single night of prayer since her brother slipped into a strange coma. 6 long months had passed. No doctor could explain what happened. No treatment showed results. Still, every night at exactly 3 in the morning, Maya rose from her bed. She would kneel down in her small room, press her forehead against the worn carpet and begin to pray. Not with loud cries, not with anger or blame toward God, only with silent tears and steady faith. Softly she would whisper, "Lord, I don't understand why, but I know that you can." Neighbors said she was wasting her time. Even her family slowly lost hope. But Maya never stopped. Night after night she continued. Then one cold winter morning, just after she finished praying and drifted into sleep, her phone rang. It was the hospital. "Miss Maya, your brother is awake. He's talking. He's asking for you." She dropped to her knees once again, but this time she wasn't begging. She was giving thanks. God had never been late. He had simply been preparing a powerful testimony. Moral: when everyone else gives up, that's often when God begins. Prayer is not just a routine, it is a seed. And one day, without warning, that seed can bloom into a miracle. If you believe in the power of prayer, write amen and share this story to strengthen someone. In a crowded city, after a long day of preaching, a pastor named Thomas stopped a taxi and headed home. When they reached his modest house, he pulled out his wallet and realized he had no small bills, only one large note. The driver, a weary man with gentle eyes, gave a soft smile. "Pastor, it's all right. Tonight your ride is free. God will provide." Thomas tried to insist on paying, but the driver shook his head. "I've been blessed before. Let this be my blessing to you." Touched by his kindness, Thomas thanked him and asked his name. "Samuel," the driver replied. "Just Samuel." 2 weeks later, while preparing his Sunday sermon, Pastor Thomas heard from a church member about a taxi driver whose young daughter, Joy, was in the hospital battling a rare illness. The medical bills were overwhelming the family. When he heard the name Samuel, his heart nearly stopped. It was the same man. The one who had offered him a free ride out of pure generosity was now carrying a heavy burden of pain. That Sunday, Pastor Thomas stood before the congregation with tears in his eyes. "A man showed me kindness when he didn't have to," he said softly. "Now his little girl needs our help." He shared the entire story. By the end of the service, people were in tears. They emptied their pockets, wrote checks, and prayed together. In a single morning, they collected more than enough, not only to cover the hospital expenses, but to restore hope to Samuel's family. When Pastor Thomas brought the money to the hospital and placed it in Samuel's hands, the driver dropped to his knees, weeping. "I gave you one free ride," he whispered, "and you gave my daughter her life." Thomas helped him up and gently said, "No, Samuel. You planted a seed with a loving heart and God made it grow. Kindness is never small. What you give quietly, God returns in ways you could never expect. Goodness always comes back multiplied." If you believe the pastor did the right thing, comment yes below. The way you present yourself decides how people treat you. If you want better treatment from others, start by improving yourself. Here are some simple rules that can make people value you more. Rule number 1. Think before you speak. Don't be quick to respond when someone talks. Take a moment, pause, understand it, and then reply with meaning. Fast reactions often bring mistakes or words you regret later. Rule number 2. Try to earn money. You don't have to be rich. but work hard so you're not always relying on others. Being financially stable naturally brings respect. Rule number 3. Stay clean and smell fresh. You don't need expensive clothes to look good. Just keep yourself neat, dress properly and smell nice. People treat you better when you look presentable. Rule number 4. Stay focused on your work. Instead of gossiping, comparing or wasting time on others, focus on your own path. Successful people respect those who mind their own work and stay dedicated. Rule number 5. Don't overreact when someone irritates you. Stay calm and don't lose control over small things. People admire those who can manage their emotions. Rule number 6. Think carefully before making big decisions. Don't rush choices related to money, relationships or work. Take your time and think about the results. One wrong decision can cost you a lot later. Rule number 7. Stay away from wrong actions. Don't cheat, steal, or involve yourself in anything bad. Even if it benefits you for a short time, in the long run, people will lose respect for you. Rule number 8. Don't argue unnecessarily. You don't always have to prove you're right. Sometimes silence is smarter than wasting energy on people who won't understand you. Rule number 9. Speak less. You don't need to explain everything or talk too much. Quiet people often seem wiser, calmer, and more respected. And finally, rule number 10. Keep learning and growing. Read more, learn new skills, and keep improving yourself. People respect those who never stop growing. These rules are simple and easy to follow, but they can completely change how people see you. They can shape your personality and bring you closer to the success you want. When you improve yourself, you automatically become more respected. Start applying these rules today and watch your value increase naturally. If you learned something from this video, comment "I will improve" and share it with someone who needs this message. Don't forget to follow me for more life-changing lessons. May God bless you and guide you always. Priya called her father early in the morning and said, "Papa, I don't want to live with this man anymore. Please come and take me away right now." Her father replied calmly, "First tell me everything clearly. What happened?" Priya said, "For the past 2 days, he hasn't been talking to me properly. Ever since I came to the city with him, his behavior has been distant. And today, he even threw food in my face and left." Her father said, "All right, my child, I will come to take you. But you have to give me something in writing first." Priya asked, "What do I have to write?" Her father said, "You have to write that when your 1-year-old son grows up and gets married, he will only stay with you for 3 years after his marriage. After that, he will move away with his wife, and you will not stop him." Priya was shocked and said, "What kind of condition is this, Papa? Why are you thinking so negatively about your own daughter?" Her father gently replied, "The man you came to the city with is also someone's son. His mother is alone in the village. You have separated him from her. Think about how she must be feeling. What must people in the village be saying about her now? You are only thinking about yourself. Try to understand your husband as well. You are unintentionally disrespecting him in society and leaving his mother helpless. Then how can you expect him to behave well with you?" He continued, "If one day your brother's wife does the same with your mother and me, how would you feel?" Priya responded, "Papa, I have my own life too. I want to live freely, make my own decisions, eat what I like. But my mother-in-law puts restrictions on everything. She even hides food and tells me to ask before taking anything. My husband is earning, so why should I have to ask? She decides who I should talk to and who I shouldn't. It makes me feel suffocated and angry." Her father listened patiently and said, "Tell me one thing. Didn't your mother and I ever set rules for you?" Priya said, "Yes, you did, but not when it came to food and such things." Her father explained, "She belongs to an older generation. Try to win her over with love, and even if she doesn't change, adjust a little for your husband. She won't be with you forever." Priya said, "All right, Papa, I will listen to you. But what should I do now? He just left for the office after arguing with me." Her father replied with a gentle smile in his voice, "Do nothing complicated. Just cook a nice meal, wait for him and apologize. Tell him you were wrong, and also tell him to bring his mother here tomorrow." Priya followed her father's advice. What happened after that changed everything. Within just 1 month, her relationship with her mother-in-law turned into something beautiful, like that of a mother and daughter. and in her husband's eyes, she became even more special and loved. How did you like the story? Let me know in the comments. A woman was carrying a bundle of firewood on her back, not knowing that a desert viper was hidden between the logs. Suddenly it struck and bit her on the shoulder. In pain and anger, she threw the wood down and cried out, "What kind of life is this? If I walk, I stumble. If I rest, I feel pain. If I work, something harms me. Oh God, can't you see what I'm going through?" In the lonely dryness of the desert, she lived all by herself, and everything she did seemed to fail. Her life had turned into an endless complaint against Godone Day. An angel came and knocked on the door of her small hut. From inside, she shouted in frustration, "Who is it now? Just go away." But the angel kept knocking calmly. Irritated, she rushed to open the door and hurt her toe on the way. "Why can't I ever have peace?" she cried out. But the moment she saw an angel standing there, her anger disappeared and her eyes filled with shock. "My Lord, a messenger of God, here in this empty desert. I can't believe an angel has come to my home," she said softly in amazement. The angel replied, "I have seen that you complain a lot. Would you like me to talk to God about your life?" The woman let out a deep sigh and said, "Yes. Please tell him I can't bear this suffering anymore. Problems follow me everywhere. I live in this desert where nothing grows and life is so difficult. Whenever I try to do something, bad luck comes along. Nothing ever works for me." Understanding her pain, the angel went to speak with God. Standing before the Almighty, he said, "Lord, this woman is living a life full of hardship. How long will she suffer? Will her life ever change?" God replied, "It is written in her destiny that she will suffer till the end of her life. Happiness is not part of her story. That is what has been written." The angel became concerned and said, "O Lord, if I tell her this, she will lose all hope. She may not even want to live. Is there nothing I can tell her? Something that could bring her peace or help her live better?" God smiled gently and said, "You are free to guide her in any way you wish. Sometimes even in pain, a heart can find light through wisdom." The angel returned and thought for a while. Then he told the woman, "From today, no matter what happens, good or bad, just say one simple sentence. Thank you, God, for everything. Say it in the morning, at noon, and at night." After saying this, the angel left after a few months. The angel came back and saw something unbelievable. A small stream was flowing in the desert. Green plants were growing fruits, and the woman was smiling while harvesting and singing. Amazed, the angel went back to God and asked, "Lord, what happened? You said she would suffer all her life." God replied, "That is what was written." But she started to give thanks. Her gratitude changed the heart that once complained. And when her heart changed, her destiny changed too. When she stumbled, she said, "Thank you, God, for everything." When she fell, she repeated, "Thank you, God, for everything." Without realizing it, every word of gratitude was burning away her curses. She changed her attitude. She accepted her pain, struggles, and hardships. And by thanking God, she removed her curses and transformed her destiny. Then the angel truly understood the power of gratitude. He saw the same woman who once lived miserably in the desert, now surrounded by life, peace, and joy. The woman who once complained about her fate was now smiling at every sunrise. Her heart was full, her home was blessed, and her soul was free, all because she learned to say, "Thank you, God, for everything." Moral of the story: complaining and holding bitterness in your heart will never fix your life. Always be grateful for what you have, because God's mercy is greater than what is written. He does not change the destiny of those who complain, but he transforms the lives of those who trust him with a thankful heart. When the woman started thanking God instead of blaming him, even the heavens responded. Her words of gratitude reached where her anger never could. God did not erase her fate. He softened it with his mercy. That is the secret of life. When you thank God, even in pain, he turns your suffering into a blessing. And if you truly believe that faith and gratitude can change destiny, comment "God is good" and share this story with your loved ones. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and follow for more powerful stories like this.